All right, Eride Pro SS 3.0. All right, so we got her in eco mode right now. So to give you a little preface, I came from, prior to this e-bike wise, from the Talaria Sting R MX4. I bought that bike and I didn't have anything else on two wheels at the time. I grew up riding dirt bikes when I was about 6 or 7. Got my first CRF 50 and just kind of worked my way up from there. With that being said though, I did not have a motorcycle for a couple periods of my life. What's up, homie? I didn't have a motorcycle for a couple periods of my life. So to kind of give you the background, I got my first dirt bike when I was about 6 or 7, and I'll never forget that Christmas. It was a big surprise. I never saw that coming, and I'm very thankful and very blessed to have experienced that as a kid. You know, not many kids do, and that is something that I'll forever be very thankful for, and very blessed to have experienced that. Now, with that being said, got my first dirt bike at about, I think it was about 7. I think it was about 6 or 7. My birthday's in November and I got it for Christmas. I was super young. And I rode that for a few years. And then we sold it to move to Arizona. I was living in Colorado at the time. And so I rode from about like 6 years old to like 8 years old, 9 years old. So I didn't have it for very long. So fast forward then to like my high school years, I get my first job, you know, working at a sushi restaurant and doing my thing, saving money, and I ended up buying a dirt bike again. Now granted, I was about like 15, 16, somewhere in there. And bought my first dirt bike. So I saved up, I spent like $2,000 on it. It was like a 1990 CR 250R, a 2-stroke 250. It was old, great bike. That thing had some balls. And that bike is the one that taught me how to respect the throttle, because as you know, on the 2-stroke, especially those old ones, because they were pretty unrestricted. As time has gone, these bikes have become more restricted with emissions and all that bullshit. But anyways, that's a whole nother discussion. So with that being said, I hop on this CR250R, and that bike taught me throttle control. So that taught me how to respect what input I give. It's gonna tell me exactly what the bike's doing. That bike was so touchy when it was up in the power band, as 2-strokes are. Fun bike to ride. So with that being said, I got some experience on that, and I rode that for like a year and a half, maybe 2 years. So I was about like, I don't know, 17, 18 when I sold it. I got in a car, got into the car scene. That was fun, so on and so forth, blah, blah, blah. So I ended up moving out of my house, my parents' house, when I was 19. Nothing to do with my parents. My parents are incredible. My mom and my stepdad are some of the best people to ever walk this planet. And you know, my dad's great too. So with that being said, I end up buying my first street bike. And so I ended up buying my first street bike, and I was living in an apartment with my buddy at the time. And with that bike, we'll flick it into sport now. I bought my first street bike, which was a 2006 Honda CBR 600 F4i. Slide into there, power out. Hard brakes, slide it in. Let her eat. Sorry, I had to get in the zone there for a second. Anyways, so I'm living in an apartment with my buddy at the time. I buy my first street bike. It's a CBR 600 F4i, great bike, all stock. I was about 19. Right at home, my mom starts crying. She's not a fan, so that kind of broke my heart. I ended up selling it, I don't know, maybe like a year later. Put like 2,000 miles, 3,000 miles on it. I didn't ride it a whole ton. So with that being said, fast forward, I go to college, I go out to North Carolina, I do that whole thing, blah, blah, blah. I moved back to Arizona in 2017, and that is when I buy my 2017 Yamaha FZ09. Now, that triple is an incredible motor, I have nothing but good things to say about that bike. If that is something that you are considering buying, I would say 100% go for it. Now, if it's your first bike, probably not the one for you. If it's, you know, your second bike, third bike that you've had, then go for it. You know, the bike's got a lot of torque, so that's why I don't necessarily recommend it for a brand new rider. Unless you've come from, you know, a street bike and are used to, you know, clutches and whatever, or dirt bikes, I should say. So that bike was really fun. A lot of torque, an absolute wheelie monster. I ended up riding that bike for about 2 years, I put 44,000 miles on it. So 44,000 miles commuting on that bike from Tempe, Arizona, I should say from Glendale, Arizona to Tempe, Arizona every day is what that bike saw. Was a daily commute and fun riding in between. So the Yamaha FZ09, you guys, awesome machine. I cannot speak highly enough about the Yamaha FZ, well now MT09. Fantastic machine. I absolutely love that bike. Now, with that being said, I ended up selling that bike with about 44,000 miles on it. Had it for about 2.5 years. Two and a half years. Woo! Hello, little bird. And then I ended up buying my dream bike at the time, which was a 2014. So it was a few years old, about 5-6 years old when I bought it. I bought my dream bike to me, which was the 2014, which is technically a Gen 2 BMW S1000 RR. And that bike was absolutely tremendous. I bought it with 10,000 miles, sold it with 28,000 miles, and that bike was amazing. Upkeep was just like a Japanese bike. You get a typical valve adjustment, oil changes, all that, coolant, whatever. It's all about the same. So nothing really extra there, nothing really premium there that you're paying for. The valve adjustment was maybe a couple $100 more than the MT09, which is not bad given you got an extra cylinder to adjust. And then as well, you know, it's a more expensive bike, and so I can understand why shops will charge more for the liability and so on and so forth. So anyways, I rode that bike for a few years, did some track days, did some heavy canyon riding. Absolute riot of a bike. Love it. Would not recommend it for a first bike, although if you respect the throttle, you absolutely could because of how smooth it is. But you know, when you're up at 80 miles an hour and you give the throttle a little blip and then it stands up and then you wheelie for the next, you know, 2.5, 3 gears, you know, you're putting it down to like 150, 160 miles an hour. Not like I've ever done that or anything, but you know, hypothetically speaking, in Mexico when you're bored, it is possible. So big props to the S1000. So like, look at this bike. This thing is so fun. I could sit here and just rip around this little corner. I could throw my tracksuit on if I trusted this. As you can see, there's a lot of gravel since we're building. Well, I could throw my tracksuit on and 100% drag me on this bike right now. But anyways, that's another discussion. So, with that being said, the S1000 was a tremendous machine. I ended up selling that, and then, I don't know, went without a bike for like a year. And, without the bike for a year, obviously you lose the sensation of riding, you lose the sensation of power. So with that being said, I bought the Talaria Sting R MX4. Now, awesome bike, really fun. At the time, again, without having any seat time for like a year and a half, I buy that bike and it's got, you know, decent amount of torque, 8 kilowatts. I'm having fun on it, doing wheelies, all that fun stuff. Yeah, enjoyed it. I put like 3,000 miles on it, so I had no complaints with the Talaria Sting. Now the Eride Pro SS 3.0, this is a different, you know, a different bike, if you will, in the grand scheme of power and all that. So the Talaria Sting R MX4 that I had, it made about 8 kilowatts on peak power. So, you know, with that being said, it was good. I had fun with it. This is, again, someone who's used to an FZ09, which is a lot of torque, and the S1000, which is a leader bike. So that bike's got balls too. And I had a lot of fun on it. No complaints at all. Built well. It was a great bike. I bent the stock forks on a crash, avoiding a guy's dog out in the desert, which, you know, that's another story for another time. But at the end of the day, the guy's dog, I avoided it. You know, he shouldn't have had the dog on the trail that he was on, but it is what it is. I crashed the bike, avoided the dog. I hurt my shoulder, hurt myself pretty good, about $1,500 in medical bills. Whatever. I'm just glad I didn't hit that dude's dog, because that would have broke my heart. That would have been a bad time. And I can, you know, live on with my injuries, and we're good. So, with that being said, I enjoyed it. It was a great bike. I bent the forks on the crash, replaced those with some fast ace forks, as you've seen in my other videos, and the bike was back to good, and then some. So, with that being said, I could not recommend it more. Oh yeah, there we go. So I enjoyed it. I really did. The MX4 is a great bike, and for the money and what they're charging for that bike right now, hello little birds. The MX4, for what they're charging right now, you can't beat it. I think it's like $3,600, somewhere around there. For the money, yeah, I would buy that. If you're brand new to it. But if you've had an e-bike before, motorcycles before, you might find yourself getting bored with the power and looking to upgrade. In that case, save your money, spend the extra $1,500 because you're going to spend like 3 or 4 aftermarket with battery controller, all that fun stuff. Save the money there and go buy yourself an Eride Pro 3.0 and have all the power you could ever want and need. Some people can, you know, complain about the throttle and it being sensitive and this and that, but honestly though, I mean, it's not bad. I'm used to the leader bike throttle, so at the end of the day, like it's one of those things where I'm used to just snapping and then it coming up and then setting her down and then throwing her into the corner, you know, and then coming through again, really out of it, boom, and you can just come back in, throw it into the corner. Head, you need to be looking where you're going, right? Boom, set her down, throw her into the corner. So that's another great thing about these bikes. If you ride big bikes, you can use these to train on. Boom, come right into the corner, hard brakes, toss it in. Head into the corner, be looking where you're going, throttle on, boom, you can bring it up, boom, back on the brakes. Come into the corner, look through it. So that's the great thing. Boom. So that's the great thing with these bikes is that if you ride real motorcycles, you could use these to train on. and it's a great training tool to use. You know, you don't have oil to change, you don't have air filters, you don't have coolant, none of that bullshit. Yeah, you got maybe a belt to deal with every, like, you know, few thousand miles, whatever, but at the end of the day, like, you know, it gets the job done. So, I mean, as you can see right there, it's got plenty of power to keep the front wheel up. But at the end of the day, I can't advocate for these bikes enough. I use this thing for everything. I'll go run errands on it. If I don't want to drive, and it's like, you know, within 5 miles, 6 miles, I'll just ride this thing because I'll get there faster on this than I will in my truck, starting it up, warming it up, so on and so forth. So you can honestly get a lot out of these e-bikes if you use them right. I use mine to do that, to train for the big bike, for the Aprilia on track days. Like, look, here's a parking lot. I just come into this parking lot. It looks like a standard oval. So we'll come in here, power up, boom, throw it in. Look into the corner, a little trail braking going on there. Oh, water ball. Boom, set it back down. Come around. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! Let's go. Toss it into the corner. Yeah, if I had my suit on, I could throw the knee down and probably get her to touch, but I don't. Oh yeah, let's get it. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I got a little Black Eyed Peas Hey Ya playing. Oh, this bike is amazing. I absolutely love it. It makes me so giddy. I mean, it's just picking the wheel up every chance it gets. I'm wearing joggers right now, guys. This is probably not the brightest idea, but we're gonna have some fun. I'm getting these brakes bedded in still, and this is the job to do it. Woo! Yeah. This bike is so much fun, you guys. I can't. Oh, it's so good. Wow. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So if you're on the fence with buying one of these things, I would say just go for it. There's so many uses you could use these for, and honestly, I keep finding new ones. I've hiked up, I should say, ridden up hiking trails. Woo! Oh, those brakes are hot. Yeah, this thing's a riot. Yeah, if you're on the fence, you know, if you've never ridden a motorcycle before, what a great way to get into the sport and understand how motorcycle physics and mechanics work without having to worry about a clutch and gears. Just learn the basics of lean angle and throttle control and everything else. Braking. I can't advocate enough. So, Eride Pro 3.0 SS. I love it, guys. So far, I love it. Now, keep in mind, I'm going to continue to ride this bike pretty hard, report in, and if there's issues with it and whatnot, I will report back and let you know what I'm experiencing. But other than that, we'll cut it there, and hope you enjoyed the video. Peace.